Hi everybody, and welcome back to my dream machine, and welcome back to Dream Big Multi-Hooping. My name is Sue and I am from OML Embroidery. And today we're going to do the much awaited video that everyone's been looking for about multi-hooping and how to line everything up. So in the first video, we went over how to send it to your machine, how to actually split it, how to send it to your machine, and I showed you guys how to print. So these are my printouts. So this is my template, which is important to print out because we need to make sure it's going to fit where we want it to. This is your thread sheet, not quite as important, but this one will be handy. Now, we're doing a relatively simple design, but you know, if you're more complicated, you might have 2 or 3 pages of different hoopings that you guys are going to do. So my recommendation is to start small. Start with a simple, small design, get the registration down pat, and then go to more complicated ones. So make sure you print everything out that you need. So the first thing we're going to do is get our fabric, and I just have a scrap piece of fabric here. And if you were working on placement, all you have to do is quickly cut this out. I'm just cutting it with paper scissors. Don't use your fabric scissors on it for sure. And make sure it's going to fit. Now I'm just using a piece of fabric, so I know it's going to fit. I am not worried about it at all. And in fact, I'm going to make this fabric a little bit smaller. So we're just going to, I know I'm using my paper scissors on my fabric. Bad, Sue. Bad, Sue. Bad, bad. All right. So we've got a piece of fabric now, and we know it's going to fit. And there's a couple of ways of doing this. There's more than one way. I'm going to show you the easiest way, or what I would consider the easiest way. Now, I would take a marking pen and mark your center just so you can, you know, line stuff up. You can actually get a ruler and mark this down so when you hoop it, you have it nicely lined up. So do it a little bit better than I did, obviously. Attach your lines. Use a air-soluble fabric pen. That should work. So the next thing you need is this stuff. This is Tearaway Sticky Back Stabilizer. And this stuff is called, that I'm using, it's called Filmoplast, but there are tons of different kinds. And it is exactly what it says it is. It is sticky. So you peel it back and it's sticky. And our fabric is going to stick to it. And again, this is the easiest way. Now, I'd like to point out I have these delightful squares that fit for a 4x4 hoop. I don't have any bigger things, so I'm going to improvise just for the sake of the video rather than putting this video off. I am going to highly recommend that you get the right size for your hoop. So I'm improvising. You don't really need to. So, okay, let's look at our design. We're going to put it here. So we're going to be turning the hoop. We're going to be rotating it to make it fit on this one. So make sure, say I've got my template. I've got generally how it sits. I've marked it out. And we just want to basically center it right here. So, I mean, you don't have to be too precise. I'm not going to waste a lot of time on it. Press it down. And look, you have it nicely hooped, to be a little more precise than I am. So I am going to take this to the machine and stitch out the first part. So let's bring it into the machine. I am going to change my thread because I want it to stand out. I've got a new view for the machine work, so you guys all have to let me know what you think of it. So I'm just going to grab some black, just gun old black thread. Nothing special, but I really want it to show up. And, you know, black and yellow is really pretty as well. So I think it's going to work for this. So let me get McDreamy threaded. Okay, so I have my design set up. I have it rotated. I know the whole entire design is going to fit in the multiple hooping. I do have enough fabric for it. So that's one thing. It takes a little bit of planning. So, okay, put that back. We know we're good to go. Let's start stitching. Now, I am not going to stitch the whole thing. I just want to get it going to show you guys the really cool part. But I am going to stitch a bit, so let's let it go just a little bit.
10 minutes later.
Okay, so I skipped ahead and I stitched out the whole thing. I skipped some of the shading, but what a cute design. So once it's done stitching, now we are going to do the registration marks. Now they are a different color, but you don't have to change colors, it's fine. It's just so it'll stop and do it. Now these registration marks are just little X's, and you're gonna line them up and it's gonna look fantastic. So that's one. And it's going to have a trim, and it's going to go and do the other one. And this is where the multi-hooping magic begins once we get this done. So we should hear the happy noises of finished embroidery coming from McDreamy. Happy noises. So go ahead and load up your second design, because remember we made two. So the second design, I'm just going to load it up. It's right here. And remember to rotate if you need to rotate. Don't forget to, don't miss that step for sure, because that will make a mess of what we're doing. Make sure you rotate in the right direction too. Haha. Ask me how I know. I've done that before. So we're going to take this off and we'll go to camera 2. Does that look cute? I love this style, by the way. This was built in to Hatch. And so what we're going to do now is unhoop everything. I'm going to unhoop it all and unstick everything. It's pretty sticky, this sticky back stuff. Okay. So we've unhooped it. I'm just going to flatten it down just a little bit. You could trim if you wanted to, but I don't find it necessary. So I'm just going to smooth it down. It is a bit easier if you have the proper stuff, if you don't want the sticky stuff necessarily on your hoop. But see, I'm going to get some bubbles, and there's not a whole lot I can do about it because I'm not using the right stuff. So we're just going to improvise. So I've got that hooped. You can see it's a bit bubbly, but that's okay. We're going to the second design rotated, loaded up, and the first thing that's going to stitch out on this is our registration marks. So we are going to go ahead and stitch those. All right, once that's done, this is what you've got. Doesn't look like much, and hopefully yours looks better, but here's where the magic happens. So what we're gonna do, I'm gonna move my sticky guy out of the way. So what we're gonna do is take a pin, and we're gonna put it right in the middle of our registration mark. And we're going to do that on both of them. Now, this is where it could get complicated if you have a bigger design. Fortunately, mine's simple, and I know exactly how it's going to go, because you need to make sure you put everything on properly. And what I'm doing, let me see if I can hold it back for you without getting all stuck. Let's see if I can do this. So what I'm doing is I'm going to put the needle through the pin, actually, through the registration mark. Can you see that? That we have already stitched out. Now, don't press anything down. You can push it, straight up if you want. A little bit fiddly. This is all going to take a little bit of practice for everyone to do. Straighten it up so we've got, generally that's going to be good. I just touched it down. Now we want to do the same thing with this side and push the pin through. If I show it, I'm going to get stuck. Hopefully you guys can see it. It's right through, and then flatten it out. And you should be bang on with that. So take your time doing that. And this is why we use sticky stabilizer, because now it's all on. Now my registration marks fit, and I'll show you. I'll pull it back a little bit. How's that for perfection? Woohoo! Woohoo! And that is the major key to multi-hooping. So I'm going to press it down really well. So let's throw it back on our machine and see how well I did. And that looks pretty good. We're ready to start. And we've already done the registration mark, so we don't need that. Let's put it down and go. What do you guys think? Can you tell where I split it? Now, a little bit of my bobbin thread is showing through there. Maybe you guys can't see it, but I'll be fixing that. But let's look right close up. Can you see where we split it? Nope, that's perfectly on. This whole piece was the second part. So perfectly on, and now look, we have a design that's bigger than our 5x7 hoop split. So again, perfect. So that is the easiest way of splitting a design and stitching it out. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Everyone's been asking me for this video for a long time, so make sure you spread it around to everyone, and I'm hoping to get lots of likes and comments because I'm hoping you guys can do some multi-hooping now. We'll be exploring, there'll be more videos on this in different ways. I'm going to use McDreamy to his fullest to do this as well. So there's another couple of ways you can do it, but this is by far the easiest. So happy hooping, happy multi-hooping, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!